water and such. Eventually, we made our way to shore. Some of us with more water in our lungs than others spent a few minutes drying off. Thankfully, magic aided in the drying process. From there, we had to scale some really steep slopes. Fortunately for us, Say came in and clutch with that goddamn cloak of arachnia, walking up a almost 90-degree slope, putting pythons into the ground to help our sorry asses. Um, I think out of all of us, Felix and Alistair were the worst off trying to climb, even with the use of climbing kits. Made it to the top eventually. Then we sought out methods of transportation, um, and we winged it, quite literally winged it. Um, Bolted for several hours, exhausting multiple forms of magic and resources to find our way to a spot that we could settle for the evening. Um, Filling in? Okay. Um, Found a cave. Our trackers, I think it was Felix and Say, looked around for things inside the cave. Found that it at one point had been a Shatter Kai hiding hole, possibly. There were wyvern prints and boot prints and like a fire pit that was long since disused. We holed ourselves up in there as Jaeger found an enormous rock to try and block part of the passage. Taliesin and Felix used stone shape to create literally a stone like door to mold around this giant rock. Um, Basically securing our safety and concealing us from prying eyes outside. Um, Discovered that the big round rock that Jaeger brought was actually a geode. So that was fun. Um, Alistair and Say kind of holed up by that as they chipped into it and broke off pieces, creating lots of little glitter dust in the process. Um, at one point, Taliesin took the amulet of communicating, sending, and got in touch with Elaine. Got some information from him about various things. Um, I actually don't remember what was said in the amulet conversation. Could someone? The most important thing, Vera, try purple. Um, Good thing we found an amethyst. Of all the things to find, we found a goddamn amethyst with an aether vein inside of it. So, yeah, we're good on Aetherstone for magic items, it seems. At least for a little while. Try to suss out whether or not Elaine's new friends could determine if an eldritch engine had been installed in Smuggler's Vale. They didn't seem to understand what that meant, but hopefully Taro can figure it out because Taro can be expected to do things. Not just Vera's brother, probably the only straight man between them. We were told not to enter the Vale and that there were outposts. And so we spent a good deal of time planning and plotting about what to do next while we bedded for the evening.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate to everything that occurred.
And there were shenanigans with Alistair's bracers and what
Oh
spells they
yeah,
could and could not catch.
yeah. Felix did some cool shit. Man- oh, managed to catch a hex and then managed to catch a. Oh no, Oliver.
Oh, buddy.
I need to step aside for just a moment.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to continue. Lewis is tagging in. Um, yeah, so part of the ongoing problem with Kanani specifically is that we're being tracked. We're being tracked by magical means by monks who may or may not want Kanani's head. So a point of contention is, well, what do we do about that? Turns out that we found out a couple sessions ago that Felix could provide the non-detection spell specifically. Um, Alistair asked, politely, could you do this thing for me? And halfway through the planning, Alistair was like, wait, I have a magic item that might be able to help with this. So Felix and Alistair experiment a little bit, and Alistair now has the tools that he needs to make this happen.
And no one knows where the hex went.
No one knows where the hex went.
It's probably fine.
It's probably fine. It's probably fine.
As the shadows darken around the campsite.
Hey, it can only help us, right?
It's good for
Oh,
sleeping.
we learned that goblins make machines, but they're bad. Like, not good. The machines are bad machines. They
Like
explode.
evil
Uh,
machines or poorly made machines.
They weren't
Yes.
described as evil or poorly made machines, but they were described as, just they make explosive machines, and the orcs don't think much of them, don't think highly of them. So the orcs think they're idiots. The machines are probably suicide machines, though we don't know
So,
specifics.
to elaborate a little more, you've learned the existence of something called a goblin.
Goblins!
Second, you learn that the goblins make things. And then you learn that the things don't always work. So yeah, there's definitely some interesting relationship between orcs and goblins. Um, you all pretty much know that somehow Elaine is traveling with orcs for some reason. Um, so there's a lot of new things that Valor Company's processing as they head deeper into the Vale. And I think that's it. Everyone cool? Everyone that hit the major points?
Yeah, that sounded
Yep.
like it for me.
Say absolutely doesn't like glitter. Hates it. Can't stand it.
And Taliesin keeps looking at saying like, "You look Sylvan touch now. This is weird, and I don't mind it." But he's not saying it out loud. He's just every so often looking over at her and just being like, stare.
Remind me again where all this glitter came from?
We were,
The amethyst.
we were
That was it.
The chipping
Yeah.
away.
we were
Geo.
filing away at it.
That's where I thought it came from. And all right, it makes sense. Thank you for reminding me.
Not a problem. And we had also discussed how to harvest the glitter into possible uh, bottles and such, so that it could be uh, held inside of the bag of holding and stoppered without absolutely covering everything in the bag of holding with glitter.
To that end, as we get into tonight's play proper, I'm going to say, based on the size of this geode, anyone can add a 5 pound bag of amethyst fragments to their inventory.
Ooh.
No checks necessary. You guys have the skills and abilities to get different chunks and pieces off this geode, and there's far more
Pretty.
amethyst than there is anything else in it.
Well, that'll just be in a bag, like the.
I'm going to say that everyone has an extra bag on them for this purpose.
Oh, everyone gets one. Okay.
Everyone gets one.
Souvenirs!
Would you mind if you said a 5 pound?
5 pound bag.
That's a big pound.
It's a lot of amethyst.
Kanani will just put hers in the bag of holding because 5 pounds is quite hefty.
And also to that effect, Alistair did do a roll for his tinker check to try and extract as much workable aetherstone from the vein within the geode. Alistair, would you be able to share the results of your check?
Yes.
So this was
With-
also done with Say assisting because Say is good with tinker tools.
So with assistance, that 19 on die became a 31 total. So with 31 in jewelry checks, Alistair managed to pull out a bag of Aetherstone shards, 5 pounds of various sizes for various purposes, and 6 fist-sized Aetherstones. For comparison, Emmett is currently running on a fist-sized Aetherstone. So it is substantial. These can be cut down and turned into various things, or the shards used in various applications. It's a lot of good shit. Oh Christ!
How much do you want? You can have 2 pounds. Say has a front row seat to all the chipping away at this thing, so she can take as much as she wants.
Is she being sneaky about this? Or is she just doing it? Is this before or after the bracer spell casting? Can it
Be
be
after.
slightly after? Delightful.
Oh yeah. Oh, the glitter.
So, Felix definitely eventually like as the hex non-detection shenanigans wind down, will wander over and sort of drop down cross-legged next to the stone, just not helping, just watching. They're not good at chipping things. What are you gonna do with that? It's really shiny. I was thinking if you got in somebody's eyes, that could be bad or good, I guess, um, depending on what you were trying to do with it. But it's very pretty. That's a lot, though. Huh. And that's all. Felix is content to sit there and watch the collection of fragments and dust and think about glitter bombs.
Speaking of bombs, whatever a goblin is, if they're making large explosive devices, as Elaine says, and they're at one or all of the outposts, now that we know that there are multiples, um, it becomes quite an interesting idea if Konane would be okay with not being a flyer. I could do a strafing run and she could fireball them, and that would make a very large explosion. If we happen to come across one.
Taking advantage of the fact that their things tend to blow up on their own.
Yes, and even if they make things that don't blow up as well, a fireball triggering an explosive device is going to cause more damage in a marshalling ground or the location that they're making it rather than it being in the field.
Alistair just kind of scratches his head. Wouldn't that tip our hand?
Yeah,
How do you know you want to blow it up if you don't know what it is?
well, that is what our mm, new acquaintances will help us with. If they can show us or efficient or effectively describe what a goblin is and what their constructions look like.
Does Jaeger know what a goblin is? He's traveled.
Goblins, goblinoids, and orcs do not exist on Mobius.
Okay.
Um, have I heard? I wouldn't have heard anything from anyone who would have wandered through.
Nope.
Okay.
No. Actually, Felix, give me a history check.
I know.
Oh, fun fact, not good at that. Actually, you
Megan
know
is
what?
in
Just for fun, I'm gonna throw a uh knowledge of the age, another channel divinity at it.
Sure, go ahead. This is technically the end of that particular
Yes.
game day, so
I didn't get the right d20s out. There it is. Oh, not fantastic.
Say, would Klinkle have picked up on the not so subtle? This is outside of my wheelhouse, so I don't respect it. That was going on.
That's
in regards to
The orcs versus the goblins.
the way that Elaine explained it, definitely made it sound like the orcs don't really understand whatever it was the goblins do.
Klinkle will point out the possibility that it's just literally students from school A not getting students from school B, and therefore not wanting to mix.
I love that interpretation. That's a 15 history for Felix.
The jocks don't like the nerd.
15. That's very close to what was being conveyed. Felix,
Jocks like the chess club.
orcs and goblins don't really mean anything to you, but you do recall that some of the rangers at the refuge, um, the rangers being, they were kind of like the guides for the caravans. They went out into the surrounding mountainsides just to scout and escort people. You do remember hearing some talk through Petal's family that there seemed to be some activity going on in the Vale prior to you leaving, but not a whole lot more than that.
And was it in like in a context of like here's something to be concerned about, or just here's a fact?
Kind of a curiosity.
That checks out entirely. Like,
The rangers of the refuge don't often go down into the Vale, but occasionally they'll go down just for curiosity's sake, or someone will make a run into the lower valleys. And it seems like on a extended run, one of the rangers had come back and reported some activity where there hadn't been activity before, and it was just a source of kind of curious discussion among them.
okay. So then Felix is not concerned about the activity, but would add. Um, so even if you like, if you do decide, I don't think we should blow people up until we know who they are. I guess I don't know if they're people, but still, like that would be a good thing to figure out first too. But also you got to watch it because sometimes there are other people there who we really don't want. I don't want blown up. They're my friends. You're my friends too, but it's really awkward if one's friends blow up one's other friends. So if we could not do that, that would be great.
Right, friends don't blow up friends.
I mean, not without asking first.
Without good reason.
That is certainly fair. Um, so with our map, it looks like we can get. Uh, let's say I'd pointed out a crossing earlier, and I point out the crossing on the map. If we can, what we can get there in a day and a half, I can do an initial scout out just to see if there's anything in the area that would prevent us from crossing. But if we can, get to that point and nothing's there, we can cross at least into the mountain on this side and be around that area on the second day. But if we have to stick to the mountain range, it might be another day and a half, 2 days beyond that.
All right, so let's focus on getting there.
And since I did Felix actually mark the refuge on the map as this general area?
Yes. So you do know the refuge is in that area thanks to Felix. The map that you have, say that notes like the valleys and passes. It's primarily all that information is mostly in the Black Fang range where you are right now, because that's kind of as far as Mareki scouts have ventured into. The other side of the Vale, those mountains, your map does not show any passes, just because there's not enough information there.
The thing on the map, the white dot on the map south of the refuge has not been mentioned out loud yet.
Nope.
I knew that much. I was just double checking to make sure that the refuge had actually been put on the map first, so I could ask my next question. Um. So pointing at the crossing, and it being close to the refuge, I'll say, so is there anything that you know of in this area that we need to be concerned about?
I mean, like what kind of concern? You seem concerned about a lot of things that I'm not sure I understand what all of them are.
Um,
Um,
uh, angry cohabitations, like giants, Goliaths,
Harpies.
random dragons, harpies,
Rocks.
rocks.
oh, I don't think there's any of those. No giants, no harpies. No, I don't think I've seen I mean, there's lots of rocks. You're worried about rocks? There's rocks right there. Points at the rock that Jaeger.
As in,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, just like there's birds of various sizes, but not like I wouldn't say any of them are giant. There's some of them are just like sometimes you got a big vulture. And yeah, no random dragons. Fairfax wouldn't like that. So no random dragons here. Just the dragon that lives here.
okay.
Urfax? Wait, what?
Fairfax?
Farax.
Um, yeah.
I like how they said it really casually, like it's just a thing that happens.
And Felix will now tap, like not right at the exact spot where the white dot is, but like the peak of that mountain. Yeah, right about over here.
Oh,
I mean, probably depends. I mean, don't. DM, what color? I know what kind he is. Is he like what grayish?
So, Faravax, you recall that he's got a kind of an interesting look. Most of his scales are kind of a glossy, almost metallic black that seems to have silver highlights. And underneath where his chest is, the black becomes more silvery with flecks of brown here and there.
Oh, he's so pretty. That was Hannah, not Felix. Although Felix probably has similar approaches. Um, yeah, I mean he's black mostly. He's kind of. I'm looking. Felix is looking around. Does anybody have like really like armor that would be similar, or like a cool like hematite necklace or anything like that?
Say
I mean,
Felix doesn't have prestidigitation, does Felix?
no, that's you. Oh no, they do. They do. But that's too easy. Felix,
Well, we
Felix is
can
not.
spend like 15 minutes before someone reminds Felix.
Yeah. I think Felix like pulls out. You know what? Let's say the Luckstone is a similar color because that's like he's looking for something that's similar, and so like pulls out the Luckstone, which is the same sort of like glossy black with like some sort of silvery sparkle to it, sort of under the black. Kind of like this, like more silver in some places, like on his belly and a little bit of brown there. Um, I mean, you don't. It's hard to get a look at him. When I see him, he's usually like in his cave, just kind of watching. Um, so it's not like he shows off. Sometimes you see him fly overhead. Um, but yeah, mostly black, a little bit of silver, a little bit of other like kind of yeah. But he's
um,
not like you don't mess with him. He won't mess with you. Is most of it. I think he doesn't mess with me.
DM, can I make a check of some kind?
Of
Um,
course.
I'm not sure where the lore stands as far as this setting goes with dragons and colors and metallic chromatic dichotomy. But Alistair went to college, so I think this is worth an Arcana check. Is this normal?
You can go ahead and make an Arcana check. The knowledge that everyone would have for free is that, generally speaking, chromatics are trouble, and metallics are reasonable most of the time.
And I would know that too about chromatics and metallics. I mean, like he's black in color. I don't know if he's like the way you
Felix,
mean.
you would know, which makes Ferrovax kind of interesting to you because he doesn't fit neatly into either category.
Yeah, I mean, like you know how words mean more than one thing at a time. Like he's black and he's also silver, but he's not really either of those. He's just his own thing.
Like mottled or blended, like raw crystal.
I mean, like you know how some horses are,
Yeah, yeah,
or no, Felix would say goats. So how some goats are like brown and then they have like black on their legs and their faces.
yeah,
It's kind of like that.
like a horse. The
Yeah.
spots and splotches like cows. Huh. So that's a 32.
32.
Oh
God
damn.
dang it, Alistair. Okay, so you sit back and you start to kind of rapid fire your way through this because, generally speaking, dragons are trouble, and now your anxiety is pumping and you're racing through every piece of dragon lore you ever picked up.
Felix said it was a black dragon. This is a problem.
Now you're
Very much
motivated.
so. Plus, there's also the fact that, dragons are kind of cool, and anyone who studies magic eventually finds their way to dragons.
Well, yeah.
So, what you learned in college was that the metallics and the chromatics are the most well known species of dragon. They're the most populous. But there are subspecies of dragons that are far more rare and not as neatly categorized. You know about the crystal dragons, for example. Dragons that take after very pretty crystalline formations like amethysts and opals and whatever have you. This does not sound like a crystal dragon. The colors and the description doesn't match something that spectacular. You also know that there is a subsection of ferrous dragons, dragons that resemble raw metals and minerals. They're not as common as other dragons. They tend to be fairly reclusive. Many of them actually prefer to live underground. Sometimes they'll come to the surface. You recall from an obscure piece of literature from a book um, you don't even remember the title of, but you just remember that this had some ferrous dragons in it and was talking about them, and you thought it was interesting for that exact purpose. And it kind of sounds reminiscent to the description of an iron dragon.
That explains the color. Okay.
That's kind of the final thing that makes it click for you. Like Felix's description does bear a resemblance, bear a similarity to iron, which is a metal you're very familiar with.
Huh. That sounds like an iron dragon.
Okay. Is that
Yeah.
good?
They're very, very rare. Exceptionally rare. I don't know very much about them. Very, very little has been documented about them. But you say this Vala
Ferrovax? And
Fe-
Felix will
fe-
say it very slowly and carefully.
Wait, did you say Ferrovax?
Yeah.
That exhalation of air means you are remembering something
Yeah, no, just really easy to remember the name now.
Have you
Ferrovax.
met?
Right. No, no. I just have a basic understanding of linguistics. So, Ferrovax. It
Clinky
Um,
just
sounds like a
chuckling a
very
little bit in the corner.
Alice, Jaeger's gonna put his hand on Alistair's head. Explain. Look at it like
She
root
looks not
language.
enthusiastically.
The root language of Common harkens back to Draconic ferrous, meaning the root word for magnetic or capable of carrying a charge such as iron. Ferrous.
What's the
And
other
there's
part?
an X in there. Well, dragons really like X's. Calcrax, Demarax.
Huh. That's cool. Where'd you learn that?
College, mostly. Primarily, exclusively.
One more note on that history that Arcana check, history Arcana whatever check you made, the 31 check,
Two.
regard 32 check regarding the nature of Ferris dragons. Um, you kind of recall that they don't fit cleanly into the good or bad binary. It seemed like they kind of just did their own thing, and if you got in their way or annoyed them, they were evil. If you left them alone, they were pretty good.
Neutral. All right. Well,
So I was gonna say, I was gonna tell you when we got closer that you probably don't want to do too much flying when you get close to like over here is probably fine. Like, I mean, he doesn't like it when people get too close, or like at least not be annoying too close. So you probably won't want to fly too much around, and then we'll sort of tap that peak again. Was what I was gonna say, but that's a long ways off, so I wasn't gonna bother you with it yet because it seemed like you had a lot on your mind.
all right. That's great advice. Does Ferrovax, do you know, um, if we pass through his domain, do we pay deference to him? Does he take tithes? Tolls?
Oh, like peasants? Yeah, he likes peasants.
Does he demand them?
Um,
Like a lord, over their domain, anyone who passes through has to pay a tax.
I mean, I lived here, so I don't know about passing through. I mean, we sent him goats. I brought him
Uh,
goats sometimes. So like, but that's just neighborly.
did he
Right.
ever get angry if you didn't send him a goat?
I mean, why wouldn't we send him a goat? That's not being a good neighbor.
Whew. Okay, so have to find a goat before we pass through, or just avoid.
We could always collect a lot more amethyst glitter and
Uh,
like convince him he looks great with it.
yeah, I just kind of pass a bottle to say, um, I gotta check and see what infusions are active.
Well, while he's doing that, Jaeger's gonna look up to say, "What do you need that for?"
Gotta go all the way back to roll 20 because I don't have my notes.
GG.
Do you?
GG to
I
me.
mean, do you need some help with that? Meaning the headache, not the notes. Felix can't help you with your notes. Insight
Yeah.
check.
Say you're already unattuned to the repeating shot, right? All right, DM. Can I say that I've already taken the infusion off of that and made the alchemist jug again?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I hand you the alchemist jug.
And dirty 20 is say fine. Uh, you can have a healing word for the headache anyway. Not that you need the hit points, I don't think, but that's not the point. Wow. Take 9 hit points that you don't need. Hopefully that's enough to make the headache go away. I mean, he likes things. You don't go in his cave, so I don't know what he has. I assume he's got all kinds of cool things. I just bring goats, and then sometimes I hang out and keep him company. Not like we don't talk because he's not very chatty, but sometimes it's just nice to sit there. So I mean, you could ask him, or you could just not. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really ask him. Like I said, he doesn't like to talk much, but you could put it down and then come back later and see if it's still there.
When Felix mentioned like hang out with him, Jaeger like smiles and lifts his finger, and we say like we don't talk. We're like, oh,
Well, if we can cross where we initially, where you initially pointed out is a good point to cross. Uh, I mean, we could land hopefully on a day that he's not out hunting, and then just do land travel through the mountains to get to where we're going.
Felix will look helpfully over your shoulder.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to avoid it. I mean, if we cut straight across from that southern point there, it should be completely avoidable. Yeah, it should be fine. And if we can cut through that little ravine that Taliesin pointed out, that you pointed out, uh, if it's clear, then we can avoid uh, Ferrovax entirely.
He does like being left alone. I might bring him a goat if we stay for a little while, but you don't have to come for that.
Alistair kind of nods at Felix. Right. Okay. Well, we've got the semblance of a plan. We've got our possible handicaps. I think it's a good idea to rest up and get ready to move.
Alrighty. Everyone's settling down for the night.
yeah.
Okay. He set up a split watch with the giant geode and the stone door kind of set up to block the entrance to your cave. you're pretty sheltered from the outside. And for those of you who keep watch, the night passes uneventfully. So after everyone has rested up, you've awoken the following day, refreshed and ready to set off once more.
Okay. Wake up bright and early and prepare some spells. Featherfall might be important, right?
Yeah, Kanani will wake up at a reasonable time, especially once everyone's like moving around, and she'll start up something for breakfast.
Talison's gonna pop one of the 4 remaining good berries, and he's gonna hold up the 3 remaining ones.
Jaeger's gonna take one.
Now only 2 remain.
Felix will decline today because breakfast smells amazing. But to be clear, Felix didn't. I don't know if enjoy is quite the right word, but definitely like enjoyed the experience of tasting something new last night.
Actually, out of curiosity, what is breakfast?
Kanani's just gonna do up some rations.
Yeah, might as well good bury that. There is no hunting to be had around here anyway.
Unless you want goats.
There's
No,
Oh,
bear-
goats.
there's more over at the refuge. Like, I mean, there's some wild goats, but not too many.
Clinkle will grab
Oh.
a berry if there's berries up for grabs.
Yep. So that'll leave me with 1 left if anyone else wants to snag one.
I just kind of want to see what happens with the rations.
They will finally get used.
Well, she'll probably make some kind of little stew. Like she kind of ends up doing that anyway with rations, because there's only so much you can do with dried stuff. Most of the time it's just rehydrating it and then adding some spices.
Forage.
Just so long as you don't end up with like a month worth of rations in your bag of holding.
There's over a month of rations.
You find out you can weather a siege based on all the rations you have in your.
That said, how many doses of rations is Kanana using?
Well, she would see how many people are actually interested in what she's doing. So that would be what? Say
Alistair.
Alistair and
I mean, Felix is
Felix?
always interested in everything. Yes.
All right, then
There's
she'll do at least four things of rations.
All right, deducted.
Alrighty, it's a little breakfast is a little dry, but nonetheless much tastier than if you had just eaten things right out the ration pack, accompanied by good berries for those who would like to partake of them. It's as far as travel meals go, it's pretty good. And you also have that bag of spice to change the flavor of things. So even
Yep.
for eating rough on the road, you guys are eating pretty well.
Heck.
It's no home cooked meal, but it's a little bit, it feels more filling to have something that's done up rather than chewing on just plain rations. It's a trick of the mind.
Scarred forever.
Kanani's getting good use out of that magic spice pack.
She really is.
It's the best kind of person to use it. All right, with breakfast imbibed and everyone fortified for the journey ahead. Anything you would like to do in your cave before you set out into the day?
Taliesin is going to go. Uh, is Konani wearing the Ring of Spell Storing right now?
Yeah, she always has it.
Okay, then Talison's going to walk over and he's going to quickly cast Polymorph into the ring.
Okay.
Alrighty. So you make your arrangements for the day's travel. And since we already have your destination kind of marked down, we don't need to break down the specifics of what you spend to get there, but I do want to check what happens along the way. So for whoever is being transformed into giant eagles, I believe there should be three of you. Let me have a perception check from each eagle. And you can
Okay.
roll at advantage because, hell, everyone's keeping an eye on everything at this point.
Jaeger's the eagle, isn't he?
I think the
Uh,
biggest ones.
It's Emmett Jaeger. Oh no, Konani always makes herself one, and I think it's usually Emmett, but we can switch between Emmett and Jaeger as long as Jaeger asks.
No, if there was already planned, I just want to make sure I don't roll it when I don't need to.
Yeah. We'll do Emmett, Kanani, and Taliesin.
Okay.
That's a +4. That's a 15 for Emmett.
14.
Okay. And Taliesin?
Oh, that was shit. Perception. That is 14.
Okay. So the day progresses, and you begin to kind of hop through the mountains, stopping every hour to refresh your spells and take to the air once again. You push yourselves a little bit. It's not flying like this, especially in such high altitudes, is not the most comfortable of experiences, but you're making good time. As you near the end of your travel day, with the sun kind of setting on the horizon, you do notice that the clouds ahead are starting to get darker. It looks almost like one of those summer storms is rolling in. By the time you come to a landing in the area you had marked on your map, the clouds above are dark and thick, but not quite. The storm hasn't quite broken. There doesn't seem to be any lightning flashes, but you kind of feel that sensation on the back of your neck of how charged the air feels, kind of like that right before a storm moment. You kind of get the impression that you managed to land just in time.
So that's 7 hours of travel.
8 hours.
8 hours of travel. Got it.
As we're landing, do we see any like caves that we can hole up in, or does it look like we're gonna have to kind of force our way through?
You pass over a number of small valleys and cracks in the mountainside. Towards the end of your journey, with those perception checks, you don't see another cave like you had the night before, but you do find a shallow valley that looks like It's sheltered from view of anyone kind of on the ground, so that the only way people would see you is if they're in the air. Um, but as you go down there, you find there's not really much in the way of shelter over your head.
Can my very good survival modifier and I make an effort to make the best of this or find the best spot here?
Sure.
We will guidance myself. Oh, not a fabulous roll though. Uh 21.
21. With a 21, this valley now has some trees in it. Um, it's very sparsely covered, so the trees don't have canopies that interlock in a way that provides reliable shelter. Um, but there is enough trees there to provide some overhanging shelter, and with Felix's ability to make nests out of such things, um, a reasonable effort could put something together and make it relatively comfortable.
Jaeger, if I can climb on your shoulder so I can reach, I think I can weave some of those branches together just a little bit, and I think that'll be better if that works.
Absolutely.
We
With
do that.
Jaeger providing a boost, Felix climbing around in the trees, and maybe someone to assist with bringing other branches that have been kind of knocked down at one point or another. Yeah, I would say that Felix is able to weave in um, some cross braces throughout the tree to kind of thicken up some of the canopy to provide a more reasonable shelter. And you choose a tree that's kind of near the edge of the wall of this shallow valley, so um, more of a canyon, really.
Um,
So you've got a wall at your back and a roof over your head.
would it be unreasonable to have bought some tents?
No, I think that's entirely reasonable.
Would it step on Felix's cornflakes to have bought some tents?
I mean, the tents, they'll the like out of character talk, they will help some, but having something over the tents will help even more to keep us
Yeah,
dry.
this all sounds highly synergistic. Yeah.
All right, cool. So adventuring gear. Apparently, tents exist in adventuring gear. They're 2 gold pieces a piece, and they house 2 people or 1 Jaeger if you're keeping score at home. Um, would we have been able to have bought enough tents for everybody in Kelmar?
Definitely.
All right, so in that case, I'm going to deduct some gold from the party loot.
Camping is definitely a popular pastime among the Mareki. God, I really Tools doesn't show me any items. All right, so it takes a little bit of time to set up the canopy. The tents go by a little quicker. Um, you're able to actually with some careful building efforts, you're able to kind of create a shelter over a fire pit if you decide to go with a fire pit. There's enough survival skills between most of the group that you can create a fire pit that's not very smoky. So that combined with the canopy, you can pretty much hide your presence here to keep yourself from being seen by any flyers. As you kind of set up your camp and get dinner ready, that sense of impending storm, that kind of charge to the air continues, kind of surprisingly late into the night. And it isn't until late into the night where you start to hear the first distant rumbles of thunder.
Sounds like we're getting a storm. Right, yeah.
Did you
Hmm.
summon this one too?
I hope not. Um, So we've got some tree cover, but there's a lot of like tall trees, perhaps to scale.
Probably no, not to scale on the map.
Not, not,
Um,
not to scale. I mean, to be able to be scaled by a person.
oh yeah. Felix was climbing all throughout the tree that is currently above you.
Say can walk up trees.
Say can walk up
s-
walls.
Say, do you think you could see if those clouds are maybe I don't know, full of red lightning? Right. Be careful.
Whoa.
All right. You don't have to roll for stealth because honestly, the only people around here are your own party, unless you want to see how quietly you can move up to make the party think you've disappeared. Okay. Well, directly overhead as you climb and kind of peek out, you don't see any lightning yet. As you get to the top, which is just coming over the edge of the little canyon that you guys are camped out on, give me a perception check. 24, still very respectable. So you hear the rumbles and you start to look out into the sky and peer to try and see where the sound is coming from. You It's nighttime, so you can tell from the lack of starlight above you that there's plenty of dark clouds kind of moving in. Um, and it takes you a minute, but as you eventually turn to look to the north, you see very faintly in the distance between the rising peaks of the Black Fangs, occasional flickers of red light. Very occasional, very faint, very far to the north of you.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll have to keep our wits about us. Count quietly.
Should I ask what that means, or should I let it be a surprise?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jesus
good.
don't want it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I like surprises.
Not that one.
Oh, I think we don't have an airship.
It seems whatever magic that the forces of ruin are using summons this.
That sounds worse when you put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if they can see us through it or I don't know. But yeah, let's keep a low profile tonight. Like you said, say maybe no fire.
When you said far away, which direction?
Up in that direction.
Cool. Okay. Not refuge words. Thank you.
Alistair pauses for a moment and squints and DM. We all had a nightmare early in this game, early in season 1, of creatures pounding. Yeah, is this it? Is this the drain?
Thinking back to the nightmare, the thing that this has the most in common with the nightmare is the red lightning. In the nightmare, you saw a lot. You saw the what you recognize kind of now as orcs, what you recognize as Duergar. You saw anvils and smithies, all kind of. You saw the machines of war. Um, but the landscape looked, from what you recall, the landscape looked strange. It did not feel familiar. So far, it doesn't feel like it's the same place, but the lightning is a common element. Kind of going back to what you all explained to Felix with, it seems like wherever Ruin's power is concentrated, this red lightning seems to manifest, either as a byproduct or because of active intervention.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're not going to push, right? We're going to bed and rest and get up early.
Giga nods.
All right. It's like we moved in the morning. We moved for 8 hours, so it's got to be like 4 or 5 now, right?
You've traveled for 8 hours plus rests in between. It's kind of like mid afternoon. Um, it's getting on towards evening. You still have plenty of time. I made a mistake when I said that say couldn't see too much. You're right. The sun is still out, so the clouds are very recognizably dark above you, and very dark off in the distance where she saw the red lightning.
All right. In that case, Alistair is going to go into his tent, maybe set up a few light stones to offset the darkness as it gets darker, and occupy his mind with work. Sure. And you've seen him long enough. Yeah, you've seen him long enough to know that like things are on his mind. He's nervous, so he's working. Does the alarm patrol? Is it like a something gets close to it and it goes off, or is it a time alarm? Yeah, that one. Glitter bomb alarm.
Oh no. Okay. Give me a tinker check. I believe your feat lets you just able to make them without making a check, but I just want to see if got it. Sounds good. Yes. Okay. Well high enough to create a high quality alarm piece for yourself. In comparison to some of your other work, it's up there. It's among your not your best, but among your best.
Hmm.
Foxhead pops into the entranceway of Alistair's tent.
Check something real quick. Yeah. He perks up from what he's doing, glances in the direction, and oh, you're Small. Hello, Small.
Kanani's gonna look at Say, look at Alistair, see that they're working, and make herself homey and just barge right in and nestle herself between the two of them.
Not on the. Excuse me. Could you please not on my file and start pulling tools out from underneath Kanani, who is so rudely sat upon some tools.
She makes fox noises at him. As if it's his fault for putting tools down in her spot where she was supposed to lay down, obviously.
Yeah, Alistair's going to go ahead and begin filing and shaping a piece of carved silver into a loosely circular shape.
Okay, while Alistair is calculating how much time and effort to put into his project, is there anything else in particular that anyone else is doing for the afternoon, late afternoon, moving into evening?
Well, Jaeger can't. He doesn't want to risk alerting anyone, so he's not playing music. Oh, so he's gonna probably just be casually reading the magic book.
That's
think-
that's the beginner's magic book, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know what, Jaeger? I'm going to say that in your beginner magic book, you find something that is immediately useful to your knowledge base, which is that aether stones come in a variety of colors that seem to resonate with particular kinds of magic.
Hmm. So I remember this being told to Alistair, like OC. So I will keep that in mind. And which school was our Aether Stones good for?
Your particular aether
Conjuration?
stone is conjuration. I'll put a list into OOC of what your book tells you.
Cool, thanks.
Ooh. Pin it! Oh, we can't pin here.
We'll make a entry on aether stones at some point.
Cool. I'll port it.
Well, Jaeger's gonna just mumble him to himself about now he needs to learn how to conjure with dire wolves.
Oh no.
Conjure dire wolf.
I mean, all right, DM breaking DM silence for a moment. I'm pretty certain that you have everything you need to make an item that summons dire wolves.
Oh, that seems fine.
Dude, bro. A hunting horn.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm not sure how many hours we can get into crafting things before we have to physically sleep. So It's
Um,
late evening. We bet at around like 8, 10.
I'm going to say that you can get in about 6 hours of dedicated work time.
All right, cool.
You might
I'm gonna
need
be.
some light at the end of it, but I think you have enough companions who know light spells to kind of illuminate the inside of your tent.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's covered. Um, so yeah, Alistair will be quietly working on things, occasionally petting the fox, occasionally just chatting with Say, um, while shaping and working and filing down this circular, hollow piece of silver into the vague shape of a ring. It's rough.
Give me
But
a tinker tool check, or if you have something else that you think would be equivalent, that would be fine too.
how about jeweler's tools?
Jeweler's tools would work.
Hell yeah. Dexterity based?
Yeah.
Alright, my dex is. Alright, I can work with that. 28 total.
Okay. Not a crit.
Not a crit.
What did you roll on dice?
15.
God damn. All right.
So,
Yeah.
so you know how rogues have those things that they're really, really good at?
Yeah.
It's like that.
All right. You're kind of halfway through your project, and you've got a solid foundation to work with. I'm going to say that after the night's efforts, you have the shape of the ring. The only thing it's missing is the some of the embellishments that you have in mind, some runic work if you choose to inscribe it. But you kind of hit that zone when you're making it, and you feel like you can feel the magic around it. It hasn't sunk into the ring. It hasn't been anchored, but you can feel that it's kind of radiating potential right now.
Alright, she's primed, and I'm exhausted. Yeah, and I'll turn in.
Alrighty.
Felix is mostly gonna spend the evening hanging out, watching people do things anything that looks interesting. They'll pull out their journal and sketch the trees against the clouds, against the lightning. Is there actual real like normal lightning, or is it just the red stuff far off?
I'm glad you asked, because this brings me to
Oh,
what I
good.
wanted to illuminate for you, Felix. So as the afternoon grows into evening, um, you notice, being kind of skilled in survival and sketching the environment around you, which is a great lead into this, is that these dark clouds that are rolling past, it doesn't, they don't seem to be, it doesn't seem to be like you're getting deeper into the storm. It feels like you're perpetually on the edge of it. And this only grows more pronounced as the evening goes on further. You don't see any lightning from here at the base of the tree inside the cavern. So it doesn't seem like there's a storm that's getting closer, but you can still hear the occasional rumbles in the distance. Um, as you start to clock this and realize this is kind of odd, give me another survival check.
Gonna guidance it because now Felix is curious. Wow, these rolls tonight. Um, uh, 6 plus,
Oh no.
19.
19. All right, that's still good. So you notice that the clouds for the past several hours seem to be continually moving east and northeast, constantly moving northeast. excuse me, northwest. I got my
Oh.
directions. So it doesn't seem like the storm is ever rolling over your area. It just constantly seems like it's moving northwest.
So it's am I picturing this right? It's not like it is stalled over us, it's like we are on the edge of something
Yeah, it
that's
seems
moving in
like
a
you're
different direction.
perpetually on the edge of this storm.
Okay. And can I see, does it sort of does it can I can if I'm sort of, especially if there's not lightning overhead. Well, I can't climb a tree. I'm Felix. Um,
Mhm.
does it seem like there's any sort of edge to it if I sort of am looking well, we're down in the valley, probably no line of sight, never mind. Um, just gonna watch for a minute, and then I'll gonna do Felix will do what Felix was gonna do before there was a weird storm, but now with a different question. Would like to cast Sending to Pedal.
That actually did give me an arrow. I'm kind of surprised. New text. That's not what I want. Ah, never mind.
We'll
I tried
just
to do
use
something. All right. Sending to pedal.
Sending to Pedal with just the default third level spell slot.
All right. Give me an Arcana check.
All right. Oh wow, I thought I was better at that. I guess not. Oh, but that's a dirty 20.
Okay. Um. You know what? Let me. I think you actually might get it higher because I forgot to specify an Arcana check using your spellcasting modifier, which for a cleric, I believe that's
Oh,
Wisdom.
yes. So that would take it from a the modifier, not the score. So that would make it a 23.
Okay. So when you cast this spell, you immediately start to feel it fizzle. So you put a little extra oomph into it. You kind of focus really hard and push your will out into the world, and you feel the spell begin to leave and then abruptly dissipate.
Huh. And so this is so similar to the last time. That's
Similar to
weird.
the last time, but the it didn't feel so much like you were trying to push your way through a wall this time, so much as you couldn't even get to the wall.
Okay. I'd like to try again with a fifth level slot. Really put some juice behind it this time, because now
All right.
Felix like makes sort of a confused and frustrated grumble uh noise, and we'll try again.
All right, another Arcana check.
And we'll also put a little guidance on it. Um, well, that's worse. That is 17. So I guess we'll find out if the spell slot does any good.
Okay. With the higher level spell slot, you do manage to push further. And this time it feels like walking out into a windstorm, metaphysically speaking. You feel your magic kind of buffeted and kind of pushed back, and then as you're kind of reaching forward, you hit that wall. Just this solid sense of blankness might isn't the right word, but just this force that abruptly unravels your spell. It felt like you got further, but it kind of feels like you passed through whatever was around the wall and still hit the wall, which is
Fascinating.
still a new sensation compared to when you tried it before.
Yeah. And everyone is Alistair and Say are holed up in the tents, or were they sitting out?
Alistair for sure. Say's project probably wouldn't take as long as Alistair's, so Say can decide if she's still tinkering in the tent or out and about.
Um, Felix is outside, and I think isn't going to barge into the tent, but is going to sort of slouch back over to the fire and sort of drop down beside it, and sort of just heave a long sigh. Is anyone at the fire? Or is everyone else headed inside? Oh,
I would
I hear-
imagine that Jaeger mentioned that
yeah.
he was kind of hanging out and reading. Um, Klinkle, I believe, is kind of hanging out. Klinkle and Taliesin, what are you guys up to?
I'm not sure if Taliesin came back yet.
No, I got back. I just
Oh,
didn't
hey.
say much. Other than getting told about the red lightning, I just keep an eye out towards the north, just to keep a weather eye out, because the when we were flying over the peaks, we hit regular rain, and fuckers came out of it. So I'm just keeping a weather eye out for the fake dragons and Shadarkai and shit.
Okay.
Is Taliesin by the not fire, or like sort of sitting out, or is
Camp
Taliesin
center.
holed up in a tent?
If he's keeping an eye out, he's
He would be outside.
near the camp center outside of a tent, but by now he's put back on his cloak of elven kind and has the hood up.
Okay. I guess I'll go plunk down next to Jaeger since he is the one who seems to be available. Um, I think this dumb storm is getting in the way of my magic. So that's weird. That's new.
Jaeger looks up from the book, um, to Felix, down to the book, then up to Felix again. I wish I knew more about magic to give you guidance. And he holds up like the book cover, indicating that it is indeed a starter guide.
Beginner's Guide to Magic.
And Felix's eyes light up. Can I see? I've never seen a magic book before.
Sure. And he hands it over.
And Felix has now completely forgotten the storm that was making him grumpy and getting in the way, and is very excited to just sort of. I mean, isn't gonna like monopolize the book, but has lots of questions about the book and what's in it and what Jaeger's learning, because he's never seen a magic book before.
Well, Jaeger doesn't mind sharing the book with Felix, a magician who might have some insight.
The table of contents show there's like a chapter on each form of magic, and then a chapter on runic and a chapter on aether stones.
This all seems really complicated.
Complicated? If you can't uh, read through it, then I don't have any hope.
I mean, you were already reading through it, so that doesn't change anything.
Jaeger shrugs. Suppose you have a point. What are you having trouble with? What were you grumpy about earlier? What
I this Oh, the storm. Look at the clouds. They're doing. That's not. That's weird, right? Like it's just and like hand gesture along the line of like in the same sort of line of the clouds. Um,
I'm going to assume that anything dealing with ruin is gonna make all magic really bad to use, really hard to use.
I was just trying to. I was going to ask Petal if it was storming over there too, like what it looked like from that side. But I couldn't reach.
Uh, if the communications being down have to do with ruin, then that's a good uh, what's the word? That's evidence that we're on the right track with figuring everything out. I hope that made sense.
No, I think it made sense. I was just thinking they're
Okay,
really far away. If I can't talk to them, like they were farther away before.
but
But
the lightning is right here now.
yeah,
The closer the lightning is, the harder it's gonna be for us to do things. I actually interested in seeing if Faye can talk to someone with the pen if Vera and such care to be bothered.
Hope they're okay.
Jaeger shrugs. Why don't you try using the pen to see if we can even communicate at this distance with them?
And Felix will sort of think about it for a second, then we'll scramble up over to the tent and poke their head in.
Hello. I've noticed
Hi,
you.
the clouds are weird. Can I borrow
Yeah.
the sending thing, the pin, the pin? What was that?
Amulet.
Um,
Pendant.
pendant.
Oh no.
I think, and Felix takes it and sort of weighs it in their hand and then looks at it and looks back at Say. Does this only talk to your people? Oh, I don't really get embarrassed. So that part's
Oh,
okay. But
look at you.
I mean, upsides and also, I mean, not downsides. Like, there's not really any downside for me, but sometimes it's just sort of differently confusing. Um, but that's, I mean, I'm sure they're very nice, but that wasn't who I wanted to talk to. So, it's, I mean, that was some of it, but I also just wanted to know if they were okay. I think you do a pretty good job of that, though, right? Like, I wouldn't want to get in your way.
How? Wait. How far off are our people from your people? Weren't they on their way to the refuge?
I mean, that was one of the things I was going to ask.
Two to.
I
Oh,
guess
right,
that's maybe too
2 to 3
many
days. Yeah.
things to ask, but now I can't ask
Hmm.
anything because the dumb clouds are getting in the way of the asking. Okay, well, let's try it. And I guess I'll try to use the amulet.
All right.
I don't know if I know how to use this thing.
Based on how you've seen the others use it, basically you can send a message up to 50 words long.
Okay. I'm not going to use a 50-word counter. 25 words takes 5 minutes alone. I'm just going to start talking.
Jaeger is actually gonna like scramble into the tent, like pretty much hands and knees Kramer into it.
Well, there's
I
no
would
room left
love
in the
to
tent.
see how one hands and knees Kramers into a tent.
Hold on. Can we take this out of the tent?
They're screaming fox noises.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. You're making it so much worse than it has to be.
Sorry.
I'll just keep the door open. I'll keep the tent flap open. I'll put a leg out of the tent. I'll be partially out of the tent, partially
Can you
in the
hear with your
elements.
feet?
That's a good question. Not yet.
I love the fact that Klinkle and Taliesin are just like quietly outside, just kind of minding their own business, having a very peaceful night as all this is
I-
happening in Alistair's tent.
Probably the
This is like
wisest
in the
decision.
background. The tent is just being disfigured because Jaeger's like, hello. and
Oh, it's
he's-
falling apart now.
It's like one of those chill beats music videos. You see Klinkle and Taliesin in the foreground, just kind of sipping tea and vibing, and in the background is everyone scrambling inside this tent, moving back and forth.
Just a dust cloud of fists and feet.
As they leave the tent, Jaeger explains, I know that sometimes you have trouble finding the right word, so I wanted to make sure you didn't use all of your words on saying things like and such and repeating and such like that.
Kanani's nodding vigorously.
To which one or both?
Yes. Well,
Chooses chaos every morning.
if Kanani's a fox, it means she's done being human and she's just here for the ride,
Order has succumbed to chaos.
basically.
Just remember while you ramble to, mention the important things. Like, are you with my people? And well, that's the important one.
I mean, I won't know what the important things are until I start talking.
All right,
Really?
well, go for it.
That's not how that works. This is okay. This is happening.
You seem worried. Are you worried?
I want to be worried and disappointed, but I am ultimately amused and don't like it.
Is Felix
Um,
staying in the tent to do this, or did they leave the tent with Jaeger?
Yeah, Felix had never entirely entered the tent. He just sort of
Okay.
poked his head in to sort of get attention. And now if people are leaving the tent, will withdraw from the tent to make room for people to exit. But it's now
Well-
still just outside the tent, so anyone in the tent can still hear.
Well, he's has Kanani's attention now, so she has gotten up from being nestled between Say and Alistair, and she has moved over towards Felix and taken a seat and is looking up at him like, okay, please put on a show. I'm here waiting patiently.
Do you want to
what
talk too? You can go first if you want. Well, you know what? I don't know if it'll work that way. Let me get started, and then I'll hold it out to you, and you can go then. How about that?
He nods vigorously.
All right. I guess. So Felix would like to cast Calm Emotions on Jaeger to help him feel less.
Anxious.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of prank calling.
Um.
Oh, I love this for so many reasons.
It's a 17 charisma save.
Does Jaeger contest the calm emotions?
No, because it's like
Don't fuck with my brain.
he's not like
Do not
This is
calm these
letting-
emotions.
he'll just take it, whatever.
You're just just like an extra layer of chill.
Just a deep sigh. Just like everyone's succumbed to what's about to happen.
He just he's taking the equivalent of a magical edible.
Very much what I was imagining. And then I guess I'm gonna use this amulet.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Felix. I'm with Valor Company today, and also just sort of recently. Are you at the refuge? Here's Kanane, and I'll hold the amulet out.
It's not coming through.
No, it wasn't that time. It did very nicely before.
Ah, my mic is not liking my screens.
You're
Oh.
probably clipping the mic.
I'm probably clipping the mic.
So, but there are fox noises. I don't know if this thing picks up auditory noises or just thoughts, but we'll find out, I guess. There it is.
I like that it's coming through Dom and Rob's mics, not through CC's.
Yeah.
It does.
I've been practicing stupid fox noises when I'm by myself at work. I want to do this.
So that was like 27 words before Fox's.
I was gonna say when Kanane is done saying her piece, if I bring the amulet back, can I tell if the spell is still active or if the fox noises counted as words?
Fox noises count as words.
Jaeger's
DM.
actually gonna say that, like literally, take up more words.
Elaine's gonna get this, and he's gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with these people?" It will be Vera. Vera's gonna get the message, and then she's gonna hand it back to Elaine and say, "This is your problem."
So
Say, like,
DM, do I know if I have more words left?
do any of those 3 people know that Kanani becomes a fox?
No.
Okay, so you hold the amulet out for and Konane just kind of yips into it, and there's a long moment where the light is illuminated, and then it goes out as the message is sent. You're not entirely sure if it counted the yips or if you just ran out of time.
Extremely fair, and Felix will sort of look around. I think I got the important part in there, right? And then we'll offer the amulet very solemnly back to say, thank you.
Xavier gives a thumbs up.
Everybody wonders that if Elaine's familiar not fox is there, if he'll know what's going, if he'll understand the Kanani noises.
Immediate fight or flight action. It just gets angry.
You actually don't have to wait too long before the light flickers back to life within the pendant, blinking. Felix, you know that based on what you've seen, um, when the light in the pendant goes out, that means the other pendant is awaiting uh, activation, and when this one starts blinking again, it means you have received a message. So you go ahead and trigger it. How did you? Never mind. Bad time. Call back later. Oh, 1 at a time only.
Does that mean they didn't hear Kanane, or does that mean that they didn't want to hear 2 people? I don't know. We should ask them.
Felix, if you like, you can try an insight check at disadvantage
Sure. Um,
to try and discern some meaning behind the rapid response.
sure. Guidance.
Impromptu timing. We're trolling the other party, and they're getting their ass handed to them by red lighting.
Insight check at disadvantage is 24
Wow.
Wow.
with guidance, but still.
With a 24, you're able to pick up that he sounded very distracted. And his comments on 1 at a time seemed more instructive than annoyed. So it sounds like he might have been kind of instructing you on how the amulet actually works. You get the impression that it will only record whoever is activating it.
I'm sorry, Kanane, I don't think they got to hear you, so you could send them again, but maybe this might not be a good time. So maybe later so they can really appreciate it. But thank you for helping. I appreciated it, but I don't think they could hear you, so I don't think they could appreciate it. But next time.
Kanani shrugs as best as she can as a fox.
Well, at least we know that communication is still working somehow, some way,
I mean, kind of.
kind of.
I also should have mentioned that his words didn't come through clear. If this was a phone, you would have heard some staticky interference.
And he
Still,
didn't.
still audible, but just some fuzz on the line.
And he said basically it was a bad time, a little busy. He didn't actually say yes, we're at the refuge. No, we're not at the refuge, right?
Correct. Bad time. Call back later.
And I think I got the important part in there, right? Like I meant to ask.
You
I did
did.
ask, right? Because I don't think he answered, and I don't know if that was because he didn't answer or because I didn't actually ask. I just meant to, and then I didn't.
You asked. I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, he gives a thumbs up.
Felix gives a solemn thumbs up back. And I
The
think we'll.
entertainment passing, Kanani's going to nestle herself back between Say and Alistair.
This show sucks.
No, it was more like, chaos over. All right, time for naps.
Well, so
Must
it's a
recharge for
bedtime,
next
but
chaos.
no one's being murdered, so that's good. Maybe we should try back again in an hour?
I was just about to ask if you would like to try back in an hour.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's not. I have a feeling
could be.
someone is someone is experimenting.
Someone.
Judging by the frantic movements of Rob's cursor on the screen.
And you know
Oh,
the
no,
color of the hexes.
No, that's not me. I'm just about to delete it.
Thank you, sir.
It might have been the auto thing for common.
Oh, that would make sense, wouldn't it? That didn't even occur to me.
What happened?
Casting spells that have an area of effect will switch your cursor to create that area of effect.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We'll endeavor to remember that so that I can make it go away faster next time. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I forgot what I did, but that happened to me, and I was like, why do I have a spell range? Oh, I did a thing 3 turns ago and never clicked the screen.
Yeah, I mean, if there was going to be another, like Felix wouldn't demand the amulet back because that's not how he rolls, but is still interested in what's going on at the refuge if the other folks are there. So would be in favor of a follow up.
All right. Whenever you're, feel free.
I have a question.
I may have an answer.
Either you or Rob. All right, the Ring of Spell Storing. How or where do I list what spells are currently in it?
That's a great question. I will help you with that in IMs.
Rob is sure to know the actual proper way to set it up in Foundry.
Did
the Mish way
Polymorph-
is just put a note next to the name.
So Kanani would have used her twin spell Polymorph from the Ring of Spell Storing? Because she also knows Polymorph.
Yeah, I think Taliesin detected one spell slot, so you didn't have to.
Yep.
Yep, for all the travel that you did today, you would have exhausted both the spell as well as your spell slots for Polymorph. Okay, could you post that in chat somewhere? There we go. Thank you. Right, I am going to focus on this for a moment. If everyone would like to play amongst yourselves for a minute or two.
I might actually go see if I have ice cream.
Ooh.
Probably don't. I see that 3 at the end of the message and want to imagine that say ended with :3 to put a cat face.
Damn that drawing tablet. Damn it to heck.
Damn you, Art!
Art?
Yeah, that thing that you're gonna be doing once your tablet comes in.
Oh, art. Me? Oh yeah. I am getting the newer model of the Huion Inspirov. It's basically Cece's model, but the new version has a pen that doesn't have to be charged. And has. That's kind of where I am right now, because when the urge strikes, it's like, oh, pen is dead. Cool.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to send you a picture of my old Wacom pen.
How fat it is.
See if it's the size appropriate for your mitts.
Maybe we'll see if my mitts are properly sized for this. Oh yeah.
You know what? For giggles, I'm gonna share the pen to the Gen chat because
Oh, it's so plumpy.
And the amulet begins to flash. This took a couple minutes longer than the rapid response earlier. Oh, sorry for earlier. We came across an enemy camp. Hobgoblins, apparently. They've been dealt with. One prisoner, a woman named Vespa. They've apparently been raiding the refuge, but captured only a handful. No deaths. The refuge still stands. Its people are good at hiding. Should be there tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, Alistair's kind of leaning out of the tent to look back.
And Hannah forgot that was audible to everyone, right? Not
That
just the
was
person.
audible to everyone. And Felix, the refuge, it's a small town. You know Vespa kind of tangentially, just
Okay,
neighbor.
good, because I was also looking at my list and didn't see that name. Okay, so cool. So not someone I know well.
Yep, not someone you know well, but you know Vespa as a female air genasi, and she was part of the Rangers who served with Petal's father, Edwin.
So Felix would have had been sort of hanging out, listening, sort of all attention on that. And I'm sorry, could you throw that in the chat box?
Sure.
I remember the substance of what was said, but not I didn't catch every detail. Fabulous, thank you. Did he say I heard he said that that a prisoner, does that mean that when he says they've been dealt with, does that mean that they're still a prisoner, or that she's not a prisoner anymore, but she
You
was for a minute there?
you very much got the impression that he was speaking of these hobgoblins.
Okay, cool. So prisoner has been in theory
Yep.
released. Excellent.
I mean, hell, writing off of that really intuitive understanding of Elaine's tone earlier, yeah, it sounds like they came across an enemy camp, they dealt with it, and they liberated the prisoner there. And is based on this information, it sounds like they might be speaking with Vespa, but that's kind of all that you were able to intuit. just because there's
Yeah.
information in there that they wouldn't have access to otherwise.
That's new. I think that's new. That's not yeah, that's I don't want to say that's good because that's not good. Like part of it's good and part of it's really not good. I don't think. I'm just gonna try to cast sending again. Doesn't seem to be working very well. But
You can it's since this is at the end of the day,
yeah,
it will you lose nothing,
yeah, gonna
and you
throw
do
a
know that the
fourth level
following
at it.
day you will be closer in case you want to try again.
We'll
Can
try
we
again.
see? Can we see that Felix is trying to cast a spell?
It's verbal component, right? Let's see. Verbal somatic material. So yeah, that would be very visible.
Okay.
So let me roll my Arcana with my Whiz modifier. Oh nope, nope. That's gonna be a 9.
Okay.
Oof.
And so I think Felix just sort of makes sort of the uncharacteristically frustrated noise and just sort of flops over backwards onto the grass.
It definitely feels that in this particular location, you're not able to grasp the weave, so to speak.
And the storm is still overhead, or sort of semi overhead, doing its weird northwest thing.
Indeed.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. That was just I got a little yeah, it's weird that it won't go. But it's okay. It sounds like it's okay. Um Felix will sort of push themselves back upright. So we'll keep going tomorrow, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I roll an insight check into Felix?
Sure thing. Felix, you can decide if you want to roll something or how
No, Felix
easily
is
read Felix is once
disinclined to is not trying to hide anything.
It's a dirty 20.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean Felix isn't trying to hide really much of anything. Felix is like it's partly Felix is a little is like is like worried about what's happening at the refuge, not like overwhelmed with worry, but is definitely feeling sort of cut off, and doesn't like that. And Felix is as frustrated as Felix gets, like definitely like the sort of okay, pick myself back up, optimism, we'll keep going. That is real, but so is like you've spent enough time with Felix at this point. You know Felix isn't a student of magic, doesn't really have to think about what they do much. So this like intellectually
Yeah.
they're grasping what Jaeger and everyone is saying, but it also kind of does like the theory of magic as you have seen is not a thing that Felix is particularly adept in. So Felix is this is the I got a thing that's supposed to be working and it's not working, and that's like it's not earth shattering, but it sure is annoying, and I sure would like it to be working right now.
Do you need a hug?
I mean, I wouldn't turn it down.
Jaeger opens his arms to Felix.
Felix will give and receive a hug. I imagine it's kind of Felix is a scrawny little thing. So
particularly next to
yeah.
Jaeger.
Um, Alistair kind of scratches his head as Felix gets swaddled up. Felix, you've tried to do this a couple times now. Do you think it's possible to make it work?
I mean, it worked farther away, right? Hannah can't remember who Felix cast sending to way back when, but there was definitely someone
Well, I know.
that you all just described. So yeah, so I like it's always worked before. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not going to work right now, but it's so
If I
yeah.
remember correctly, I think Felix was just trying to reach someone in Kalmar.
Maybe it was
Yeah, it
Ervan.
might have been one of
Yeah,
Say's parents, yeah, or someone,
yeah.
yeah.
So at that point, there was no resistance at all. Like it just
Hmm.
worked.
And I remember everyone was surprised about that, and Felix didn't understand why everyone was surprised.
Kind of glance at Kanane. Well, I've seen her do something that sometimes make magic work more smoothly. Maybe if you try again, we can all, I don't know, try to help.
I kind of tilts her head at Alistair and then looks at Felix.
I mean, Felix, you don't really approach magic the intellectual way. There's something in you, like a force. And after traveling with Kanani, I'm starting to realize that it's more than just what you know. It's what you feel and what's in your blood. So maybe, I don't know, working together, we can try to, I guess, brute force it. Oh, not a very clean breakup, that then. Checks out.
Jaeger has a book.
You summoned George from the book? Where? What page?
Jaeger starts madly flipping through the book. Yeah, there's Jaeger at the back of the chapters. There's a couple pages of notes on particular spells, but there's a lot of like verbiage in there that you don't quite understand, and some techniques and like diagrams, and it's just like you stare at it, just kind of urging it to make sense. And at the moment, it doesn't seem to be making sense.
I almost wanted to roll to see if Jaeger got a headache and nosebleed looking at it.
You don't even need to roll to know you're getting a headache looking at it. It would require some study and maybe a feat to unlock the base spells in that book.
Let's study.
Out of character, does Felix have any magic left?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Felix, if we've just been traveling, Felix has, I think, has 2 more 4th levels, and then some lower level stuff. So yeah, and it sort of would sort of look at Konane and sort of cock their head in the other direction, just sort of a mirroring. I could try.
Well, her magic is all about random things happening and sometimes summoning unicorns. If
I've never seen a unicorn. That would be a
well,
nice consolation if it didn't work. Can you do
what
magic when
work?
you're a fox, though? Or can you do better magic better when you're a fox? I guess I shouldn't assume the fox can't do magic.
Kanani huffs as a fox because everyone is talking and she can't talk as a fox. She just want to relax. And so there's a swirl of purple leaves and magic as she turns back into a human, still sitting next to Alistair and if Say's still there, pushing him aside because of it.
I was gonna say to get more space now, right?
Yes.
It's a 2-person tent. Oh.
maybe I should have left the tent.
Oh,
Anyway.
you think maybe?
And then she gets up to leave the tent and bumping her way as she does.
He just pushes her out.
Yes.
Yep, that was she managed to. Yep, it was a thing right before you left Kelmar. She managed to figure it out.
Now she's doing it all the fucking time because hell yeah. So she gets out of the tent, she dusts herself off, she huffs. I can change things. Only a little. But it depends.
Like, what kind of things?
So you do something, whether it is tell a lie or tell the truth, convincing, or maybe a spell. Either way, I twitch my nose and it might go better or it might go worse.
Can't
Oh,
get
that
worse than
seems
failing.
fair. I mean, I bet it could. This kind of like
Okay,
curious
well, I
is
mean,
like pure like curious to see what that could look like. Like that is not the it probably could out of concern. Okay, that sounds fun. I mean, or at least interesting, and I like interesting. So yeah, let's if you don't mind, that would be great. You don't have to, I'm sorry you had to become not a fox. Um,
Well, I cannot talk when I am a fox.
I bet we can try to work on that because like I appreciate it, but I also don't want like if you want to be a fox, I don't want you to have to not be a fox if you don't want to not be a fox.
I
But
mean,
you're
I
not a
can.
fox now, so if you don't mind, that would be yeah. Let's try it.
Yes, I can help you.
All right. Felix is gonna cast sending one more time,
Kanani's gonna use Ben Luck. Her nose wiggles.
meta pigeon guidance.
That is a +4.
and oh
Oh, that
wow,
works.
I
Yeah, I
have
got max roll.
also just remembered that it's a new day and I have portents, which I had completely forgotten again. So that becomes a 30
A 30.
with yes, with a channel divinity on it and with a knowledge of the ages on it. I keep forgetting I can reset all these things.
Okay.
And a 17 portent.
So with a 30, you once more cast your spell out from you. And Kanane wiggles her nose, and you feel kind of a strange sensation, kind of. Whereas before it felt like you were pushing into that strange wind, you start to feel that wind kind of bend around you to make it easier for you to pass, as though something was warping the way that it worked, creating a passage for you. You feel that wall again. You feel that force, and you push and you push and you push, and you feel a slight, almost like you hit it at just the right angle to start sliding along its length, and then you feel like you burst through onto the other side. What's your message?
Oh, cool. I think the first several word equivalent is just sort of a delighted whoop. Um, so like basically Felix cheering. Um, so let's call that 5 words of just sort of random cheering. Followed by, oh, I think that worked. Thanks, Kanane. Hi, Petal. It's me. Wondered how it's going over there. See the storm? Question mark. That's 25 words exactly.
Okay. I need to jot
The
down something real
questions of
quick.
substance were, how's it going over there? See the storm. Other than that, it was just babbling. And gratitude for Kanane. And then they'll thank Kanane several more times after running out of words. And thank Alistair for the idea and everyone else for the moral support, etc.
Okay. So, with your message sent, your celebratory message, and your question sent, you immediately hear a familiar voice come back into your mind. Felix, where are you? Are you okay? I'm okay. Most of us are okay, but some of us aren't. We're mostly hiding. There are these. That's
And then
everything.
okay,
So it cuts off.
it's probably 25 words.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are okay. Some of us aren't. We're hiding. There are these. Oh, cool. Felix is obviously going to try again, although this probably won't go.
Going to try to stack buffs again?
I think yeah. Would can you do that thing again, or do you run out of times you can do that thing?
I believe hold on.
2 sorcery points.
It's 2 sorcery points, so I can keep going.
Okay,
How many sorcery points do you start off with?
I start with 11.
You should. Wait, just to double check because I lost it there for a second. Are we on the morning of the next day? Or are we still at
No,
that?
still in the
we're still in the
evening.
evening, right?
Evening.
So
I'm very
you'll
excited
burn
for
some through
whatever
today's travel.
whatever
Konami
Misha's
has
gonna
no
drop on
sorcery
us.
points.
How many did I burn through? Because I started with
All of
11.
them.
We'll say that just that last sending was the last of your sorcery points.
Okay.
You can burn spells to get sorcery points back.
Yeah, she burned her last 3rd level slot to make those sorcery points.
But a lower level would be able to get you some points.
So
Also, Jaeger can help.
I burned a 3rd level.
I think how many spell points do you get from a first level? Is that 1 or 2?
1.
All right, so it looks like if you were to burn either
I have 5th level spells. And I have 4th level spells.
If we went through the fast travel that is listed on the map, all the costs are labeled there. You don't have any 5th level slots. You don't have any 4th level slots. You had a 3rd level slot and a 1st level slot left, and maybe I'm double checking.
Okay, a 3rd
1.
level would cover it at this point.
All right, so in total, what would I have to my disposal?
You will have no magic left after this. All of your spells would have been converted into sorcery points.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll hand wave it at that. So you can all traveling would take up all of your sources, and you would transfer the remaining sources into sorcery points to get 2 attempts at descending. Even if the math's off, we'll hand wave it.
All right, so 2 attempts. So Kanani can do it one more time.
Correct.
All right.
And also,
All right. Roll again.
And if anyone has anything else they want to add,
yeah, Alistair's going to see all this fun shit that Kanan is doing and try to see if he can reverse engineer that.
And I still have. Oh, my channel divinity is good for 10 minutes, so I still have that proficiency back up and running. What's a reverse engineer?
Well, you
Just
have
try
another.
to.
You have another +4. The die gods smile upon you.
All right.
Kanane's doing some major warping of the weave here.
Oh, not great though. Kanane is making a better effort than my dice. It's
And
gonna
Alistair,
be.
you said you were reverse engineering this.
Yeah, Alistair's seeing that Kanani's got this wiggling nose, changing statistics, and he's trying to think of just how it's working, how she's affecting the weave. And he's going to think back to that zone that he keeps finding himself in. And kind of framing Felix as a point of reference, as maybe magic is more about feeling than thinking. He's going to just cup his hands together and focus on just willing into existence a success. He's going to burn use of Flash of Genius as an actual spark of magic. Just kind of flickers across, the tips of his hair, across his goggles, between his fingertips, before dissipating out into the air. This orangey, electric, cubic-looking aura. To add +5 to the roll.
And Jaeger, you mentioned you might have something to help as well.
Yeah. Jaeger can give bardic inspiration, but like, how many times is this gonna like keep going? Because you can just as well wait, because I don't have many charges of that.
You should have a charge of Bardic Inspiration because arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you
We're not going to be able to do much more than this.
This is the
Yeah.
last try.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Alright, so
Last try, end of the day. Might as well burn it.
all right. So Jaeger's gonna grant that to Felix
D6.
with the rousing "You've got it" Shark Prince smile.
Buddy Christ pose.
And that's a D6, did you say? Did I hear?
Yeah.
Oh. Yo, this was a real bad roll to start out with. We are at 27 though.
And what level spell slot is this?
This is a 4th.
4th.
And did you cast guidance?
I did not. I wasn't. I don't think. Wasn't sure if I could do that at the same time as.
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I thought about it and I would have. It's not. It's a concentration, so it would be good for a minute.
So sending is not a
It
concentration
is not
spell. It's just a straightforward evocation. So
correct.
retroactively say that Felix would understand that guidance worked that
Okay.
way.
28.
Okay. So 28. You experience the same start. You feel the weave of magic warping, and it feels. This time, it feels like it really does feel like you're not the only person casting this spell out. You feel the party kind of lending you strength in different ways, twisting the magic to try and buffer your spell. You hit the wall again, and you feel it slide along the surface of the wall once more, finding that little crack for it to slip through, and your spell manages to break through the barrier once more.
Oh. Where exactly are you hiding? I'm okay. We're okay. We can come find you. How can we help? There are probably some other people coming, and then Felix would probably some other people coming, and they might get there first, and so they're nice. But it would have cut off. There are probably some other people. Would have been the end of it. So where are you? Where are you? We can come find you. How can we help?
Yep, I double checked what I managed to transcribe, and it definitely got cut off right around other people.
Delightful. And then Felix will
Okay.
return to profusely thanking everyone.
What is the phrase? Teamwork makes the dream work. Is that what you said, Alistair?
Oh, yeah, that's one of them.
Did you learn that at college too?
Yeah, well, sort of. Same general location.
The School of Hard Knocks.
Okay. So the response sounds once more startled and eager. Oh, there you are. Drummond has us in the storehouses. The gang's with me. They're okay. How far away are you? Be careful. They're.
In the storehouses, that would probably, I assume, refers to a place in the refuge itself rather than a hidey hole elsewhere.
Yep. You know that there is a storehouse, kind of a mine off to the side that the refuge uses as storage. And there are kind of deep passageways and kind of bolt holes that were built into it. Um, while the refuge doesn't really have any enemies or predators, there is a dragon nearby, and even if you're on good terms, it helps to have bolt holes.
And I think at this point, sort of the sort of belief of hearing back sort of kicks in, and Felix sort of now feels the is starting to feel the strain of burning through those spell slots in fairly quick succession, and sort of wavers a little bit and sits down. Okay, I know where they are. They said to be careful. So, but I guess we already knew that, but now we know it more. And we'll just sort of get back up and head over to save. And can I see the map again? I think I can. I'll show you. I can point out where they are exactly. It's a little bit outside, just outside the refuge. And and we'll
It
point out the location.
it actually is inside of the refuge.
Oh,
There's
I
tunnels and
misunderstood.
stuff kind of built underneath it into the mountain.
Okay, then we'll point out where and sort of explain whatever I know about getting there.
All right, we
Thank
just
you.
have to get there.
Thanks all. Yeah.
Happy to help. Well, I'm exhausted. How about you all? Sounds good.
Sounds
Alistair will
good
not.
to me.
He will not hesitate to crawl back into the tent and bundle up.
Kanani has one more charge to change into a fox, and she uses it.
Fox sleepy time.
Felix will curl up
Sleep time.
in their nest.
Okay, so Say and Taliesin, assuming you two are alternating guards because elves.
Yep.
All right. Since there's been a lot of talk about the weather and the clouds, as you both stay up for your watch, you pay particular attention to the sky. And as the night progresses, you don't make out anything heading in your direction. You keep expecting a storm to break, for rain to fall, but the rain doesn't ever come. The clouds remain thick and dark, and you still hear those rumbles in the distance. And every so often, you'll catch a glimpse of the uh, kind of within the evening ambient light. You kind of catch sight of the clouds continuing that strange motion, moving into the northwest, never quite moving over you, and you still feel that kind of tension on the back of your neck, that strange charge sensation. But nothing seems to come of it as the night progresses and dawn comes once more. All right, Taliesin, as the sun starts to come up, and the party begins to stir again, you see, you get a better look at the clouds and see they're continuing that strange motion. Actually,
Nothing's changed.
Taliesin, give me a nature check.
Yeah, that was shitty. That's gonna be a 5.
Okay. you you know you're struggling to try and figure out the source of this motion, why, trying to make sense of it, because it doesn't seem to be behaving naturally. But at the same time, you've got that nagging feeling in the back of your head that, are you sure, are you not sure, you're not sure, you were just trying to figure it out, but you can't come to any conclusions.
Yeah, I just um, once everyone's getting up, I'll go over to Say and ask her to put a mark on the map to the north and the northwest of where we are, just as a reference saying, okay, some shit is going on here and it's not normal, but I can't make sense of it.
Alrighty.
I want to say yes, but at the same time, I don't know if they're there yet or not. They said they found some and something about hobgoblins, if I recall last night, vaguely. Ah,
I thought you two were just were talking amongst yourselves. Um, um, I mean, if they've, yeah, I think, I think that's right. That if they're with some of the refuge people, then those people should be able to take them. I mean, the bolt holes. Everybody knows where those are because you need to know what they are. Or they don't do you any good. So that's probably good. But I think they did say that they're going to be there. They said tomorrow, but that was yesterday, so they mean today. So it sounds like they'll probably get there today, which is, and then sort of looks kind of questioningly at Callison. I think that's a little ahead of us. I don't know. We go so fast.
yeah. I point to the map. About half a day should get us there, and we should be high enough up on the slope that we can look out across the landscape without me having to do a scouting run to see how it looks between the peaks. And as long as we don't see anything that looks like industry, uh, outposts, things like that, we can have switch off who's being eagles and book it across that space as fast as possible and at least land on the other mountain face and move from there. It's possible if we really push to arrive at the refuge tonight. And looks like we just lost Hannah.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
no.
no. And just so you know, I'm doing some math on the back end to tell you exactly what resources you'll spend getting to where you want to go.
Let's see.
Welcome back. Where did I
Welcome
lose you?
back.
Your microphone is muted.
There we go. Sorry, Discord completely crashed on me.
Ah,
So I was just typing that I was just starting to type that in the chat, but then it came back up. Um, I got that there were eagles, and we're going to potentially go across the pass, and then
uh,
I think you lost me there, unfortunately.
okay, yeah. So, the main thought is once we get to our stopping point halfway up the mountainside, where we're going to have the shortest crossing, we'll be able to look out across the land, see if there's anything in our path that would make us not want to take this path. And then if we exhaust ourselves, possibly, we can get ourselves across that path and to the other mountain face. And if we're willing to do a forced march of sorts, it's entirely possible for us to make it to like the outskirts of the refuge tonight, but we would be very ragged.
Okay. Thank you. That's makes a lot of that makes sense. That's helpful. Yeah, I don't think we know anything that the people they're with already wouldn't be able to tell them, except for where we are now. So I guess it's really if that's something if where we are now and when we'll get there is something you think that's important to tell them, then that would make sense. Um, the only other thing is that Petal did say, like she told me to be careful. It sounded like there was there were things happening that we should be careful about, but she didn't say what exactly they were. I mean, I think she tried. I just couldn't hear that part. So you could tell them be careful, but they probably know that too on account of whatever they've already happened. So, yeah, I don't. I think you know them better than I do, whether that would be helpful for them or not.
Uh, Without having context, it's really difficult. I assume that Elaine's group being pretty much a walking mini army, possibly, at least a unit, and Elaine, Taro, and Vera. Um, if they've already come across some things last night and uh, helped rescue some people, then they already know of the dangers, uh, and they should have a good idea of how to get to the refuge now. That's the only thing I can think of. We can certainly send a message though.
Yeah, no, it does occur to me that maybe if they're going to get there first, if they wouldn't mind telling Petal that I just can't really get messages through very easily. That's not the like we're dead or anything. That we're okay. But just the magic won't go. That might be good. But if you're gonna send one anyway, if you would pass that along, that would be nice. If they could tell her that, if they'll get there first, I think.
Yeah, we could definitely send a message for that.
He looks sort of nods and it is definitely like a if you're doing it anyway thing more than a do a special thing just for me. But they would be grateful.
All right, so we'll send the message out, do a bunch of traveling, get to the Overlook, and see if there's anything between us and the other side. Okay. I'll finish up prep. We can send a message out. I'll start breaking down camp.
I'll help with the breakdown.
Yeah, Konani will be back in her human form by the morning, so she'll be helping.
Alrighty. So someone is composing a message for Elaine.
Yeah, I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
Cool.
In that case, I've got some calculations for you to get to the Overlook, which is going to be right over there. So this would require your first hour to be dedicated to dashing as birds, which there's no penalty for dashing for the first hour as birds, and then just regular flying afterwards. So Konane, I am looking over what you have spent for this kind. So you will be down. So you've spent 8 spell points, sorcery
Sorcery
points.
points.
Thank you. That's the word. So knock off 8 sorcery points. 3 fourth level spells.
This is for 4
Yeah,
hours
for
of
the first
travel.
4 hours.
Okay.
So 3 4-hour spells. That did not make any sense now that I hear about it.
3
3
fourth
fourth
level
level
1 hour
slots.
spells.
That's what I meant. And 1/3, 1 second, and 2 first. I'll jot down it in OOC chat as well.
How many first level spells?
2.
2.
And I am down my 4th level slot from casting into the ring. And a wild shape.
So that would be the equivalent of traveling about 18 hours within the span of 4.
So that would put us on the very edge of the mountains there.
Yep, right where you wanted to be with a view into the valley there.
That's
And
4 hours of travel, so this is like afternoon.
yeah, it's half a day. I would actually say that it's spent about 5 hours, factoring in little rests here and there between casting, but 4 hours of travel time.
Are we now directly under the clouds? Like, or have we not? Are we still sort of at the edge?
So now that you mention that,
Oh no.
as you progressed through the morning towards your overlook, you've noticed that you've kind of kept to the edge of this storm system. It seems like you've traveled along the southern edge, and now you have a greater idea of it. It looks like a massive cloud system that seems to be spinning in place.
Oh, that's quite ominous. It's like a vortex.
I don't. Is it supposed to do that?
I don't think so.
No.
That makes sense.
I mean, if it were a hurricane, it would be moving on a trajectory. It wouldn't just be, sticking in.
Rob, do you know how to just make a aura effect or something?
An aura effect.
Or do I need like a token to anchor it?
You might be able to get away with using. Let me see. Using multiple of these, you could do that.
Interesting. What are those?
It's just it's the circle template.
Okay, I'm gonna mess with that. If you could get rid of those real quick.
Sure.
And Talson, do you have your message?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's not what I want. Go ahead and there we go.
Apparently, I went to out of character chat, even though son of a bitch.
You're fine.
Yeah. So hold on. I quickly borrow the necklace and say, "There's someone named Petal at the refuge. Let them know that that is difficult to communicate, but that we're still on our way. We have half a day travel to make it to our crossing. If we run ourselves ragged, we might make it this evening, weather permitting."
Okay, it doesn't take long for a message to come back to you. Petal got it. Vespa knows her. She mentions something about storage tunnels. We'll pass along the message. Looking forward to discussing it with you all soon.
I'll look over to Felix. That sound good?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Thank you. Oh, I just noticed that it says weird cloud movement on the map. Delightful.
Yep, there'll be a colored thing eventually once I figure out how to do it. Um, but yeah, with all you eagles coming down to rest here at the edge of the mountains, let me have a round of perception checks with advantage.
All right, gonna cozy eagle for Emmett.
Guidance.
That's a nat 20. Let's see if it gets
Thank
better.
God.
Oh, that was for Emmett.
That's for Emmett.
Go Emmett.
Go Emmett. 14's the second one.
I got a 7, and my other roll was a nat 1.
26 is the better of the two that I had. The other one was a 14.
Okay, what was that again, Taliesin?
I have a 26, which is
26.
19.
Okay. All right, so this applies to Emmett and Taliesin. I'm glad Taliesin got a high roll because this would be hard for Emmett to communicate.
Yeah, sure would.
So, as you land on an overlook that gives you a view down into the valley, those of you who were transformed, turn back into your physical forms on this rocky outcropping. And you're kind of lower in the mountains now, since you're right on the edge of this decline into the valley. And once you retain your forms, Emmett, who is staring into the valley, just raises a hand and points into a direction. Taliesin, you had already seen something over there, so you go up to Emmett's side and focus, and you stare off into the distance. And you see something you have never seen before, far miles away, just visible to your sight.
Sorry, I'm trying to do light.
You see what appears to be a large ball hanging in the air above the forest. It looks like there's something hanging off of it. You can't make out any details. It's very far away, but it just looks like a ball.
I, the player, know what the fuck that is. No, that's a goblin warblimp. Like I said, the player is fairly certain that's what that is. Character's gonna look at that shit and go, um, huh. Alistair, do you have or say, do you a singular a long magnifying glass, but only one? Forgot what it's called. And then I will point in the direction of the floating ball with something hanging off of it. I'll just say, look that direction, quite far off. I can't tell what's hanging off of it, but it's a giant floating ball. Um, n-
All right, using your spyglass, say. You look through it, and it's still pretty far away, but you've got a decent look at it. You can see that the ball at I mean, he's right. It is kind of like a ball with ropes hanging off the bottom connected to a basket of some sort.
Floating bowl. I'm gonna look through this scope and look at this floating bowl.
That's a freaking ball with a basket underneath. How is that a ball? What is.
What is the bowl made? Is that canvas? What is that? Is it full of gas? Is it stitch work? We're just like
So
cheek to cheek.
you can't see any stitch work, but there's definitely different colored patches on the ball.
It looks very ramshackle. Well, it'd have to be gas lighter than air. Oh yeah, closer too. Oh goodness gracious. Okay, so
Can can I cast I with enhance ability the wisdom one Owl's wisdom to improve their perception, their ability to perceive whatever they're looking at on these two?
At this point, you get the impression that they see what they're looking at. It's the issue is just distance. Um, Enhancing their ability to perceive would make things sharper, but it would still be very far out.
Extremely fair.
Maybe
um
we should ask Elaine what it is.
yeah, ask Elena if we should blow it up. How
How far
this thing's
exactly? How far away is it?
yeah.
This is where things get weird. Um
So if I was going to use your hexes and go by normal day travel, that's something like 6 miles out, 8 miles out, somewhere in between there.
Actually, a hex, a full day of walking is about 24 miles.
It's a
Oh,
really clear day.
that's too far for what I had in mind.
Yeah. You're actually kind of at the edge of this hex that you're currently in because you managed to get um you're about halfway through that hex actually. 16, 17, 18. No, you're in the middle of the hex. Yeah, this is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of the 30 to 40 miles away. If that seems
Okay.
too far to see, then forgive me, but I'm going to say you see it anyway.
Now we can. Well, we're on a mountain,
Yeah, you've
and
got vantage.
me shooting at the top of the Hyatt, you can see the fucking nuclear power plant that's 45 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, very efficient and accurately representing the points of interest.
I didn't even get very far in transcribing that, so if you can just put together a rough, yeah, just rough idea.
I know the first one was what the fuck, and the last question was does it explode, but I didn't catch the one in the middle. That makes sense.
That's friend shaped.
Oh, Sam, it's not quite that, but you can bet your ass I have a reference photo for that.
Oh, I know you have a reference photo. This was just one that I had gotten, um, 2 years ago and put as my wallpaper, and it's currently my wallpaper right now.
Okay. That seems shorter than the 50 words. So, all right. Oh, no, I was looking at my response rather than putting it through the thingy. Yeah, it takes a couple minutes, which you kind of anticipate because this sounds like something he would need to ask about and get clarification on. And after a little bit, the light does start to blink. Interesting. I've been told that is a goblin watch balloon. Fascinating. It sounds like artifice. I've been told that, yes, it can explode. As for how, they say it doesn't take much. I think Elaine would probably have a very quick response to that along the lines of, excellent. I do enjoy magical experimentation. Yep. There's a red aether stone built into the um, into it.
Ah, fireball flavored crystal.
Delicious.
So, with that exchange and a goblin watch balloon in your line of sight, I think we're going to call it there, as you have a couple options ahead of you. You've made a lot of discoveries tonight.
So we're gonna
Just
blow them up.
Yeah, Taliesin is of the mind that because we can see them, unless we go behind the peaks and extend our travel by 2 days, they will see us crossing. So it comes down to, do we just want to bum rush the fuckers and blow them up so they can't get word out?
I have an idea, but it'll take a long rest.
there,
Yeah.
there was also an idea tossed around last game that I'm going to bring up. Just even though I try not to give you guys too many ideas, um, I don't know how many sorcery points and spell slots Kanane has to make it happen, but she does know seeming.
I'm nodding my head like, yeah, she knows seeming.
All things to kind of factor in and play around with until we get to our next game.
Woo!
So yeah,
Nice skating run.
thank you for game, everyone. You guys are adept at packing in a lot of detail into a relatively short amount of in-game time.
Thank you for DMing.
Thank you
Yes,
for
thank
game.
you. Thank you all.
It's been swell.
I can't wait to see how all this plays out.
Seeming lasts 8 fucking hours. 8 fucking
It's a
hours.
banana spell, like in a
Yeah.
very good way.
That's like 12 goddamn hexes.
Kanane, I've based her around mischief and illusions, and it's paying off.
Fireball.
And fireball. And many
That's-
flavors of fireball now. I could make it an ice ball.
What's the range on that goddamn
I
gun?
was gonna, yeah. See that we should if we become visible in some format so that they come to us, then they become in range and we're going the way we want to go. Everybody wins, except the goblins and the blimp, I guess.
They
Yeah.
blew Chaos will ensue.
Chaos reigns.
And you're already starting to discover things about the Vale without ever having set foot in it yet.
Hell yeah. Hey,